Okay, I think we are live. Do you see that we're live up in the corner on your screen?
I do. I hope everybody else sees us in the corner of their screen.
Okay, so I am just on here really fast and we did it. We are live on Facebook. So welcome everybody to our live Kate and Colleen show. This is super exciting. So, this is so weird, Kate. It like did it. Oh, I got it. It pulls it to an app. Okay. I mean, never mind. Forget what I
Never
said.
mind.
I'm just talking out loud.
We're here. My name is Kate Holmes, and that's Colleen Lloyd Roberts next to me there. And this is the Kate and Colleen show, but today it's going to be the Mostly Colleen show because she's going to share with us something that she spent 4 hours learning the other day. And we're going to get through it in half an hour if I shut up. So, Colleen, you have the floor.
Awesome. So last week I attended a digital marketing summit, which if you know me, you know I attend that every single year. And last year, it's 2 days, but you pay extra to attend an extra half-day session. Last year I spent 4 hours learning email marketing. So literally 4 hours talking about nothing but email. This year, I spent 4 hours learning about content marketing.
And my big leading question, so that everybody can feel like they know what page Colleen's on, is I am not really terribly sure what content marketing is. I know what marketing is, I know what content is, but how does content marketing differ from any other kind of marketing?
I'm so glad you asked that question.
Well, the dollar you slipped me before helps.
So right now, people are like paying actually to opt out of advertising. So you can get free versions of YouTube, free versions of Facebook TV. You can get free.
You mean ad-free? Ad-free versions.
Sorry, so ad-free versions of all of these things. And so people are like, they love hitting that little like skip ad button. It's like empowering. It's like, bam, get off my screen. So how do businesses get around this? Well, they get around this using content marketing. So content marketing is the art of providing useful content without interrupting consumers, and you're giving people more information before they buy. So people today are self-educating. Did you know that people will actually spend more time researching their vacation than the time actually spent on vacation itself?
Isn't that crazy? That is absolutely crazy. I just spent literally today 45 minutes on the internet researching a new microwave. I would have spent less time going to the store and asking the guy to show me around, but it was easier to do it at home.
It was in that. Okay, so perfect example. So then you sort of say, well, where are people getting this information? They're going online, Googling, just searching different websites to find information. When you are the business putting that information out there, you are getting your website, your blog is what's turning up, and that is called content marketing right there. Kate, you just did it today. You engaged in content marketing from the consumer standpoint. Well done.
I'm so smart. What can I tell you? So you're telling people that they should go onto Google and find information that they can put on their website? Is that what you're saying?
Well, what you want to do is you want to become the industry expert. And what happens is like many businesses, and I hear this a lot, like many businesses and many people are not successful at content marketing because they are looking for like immediate overnight success, and they think that sitting and writing blog posts and sitting and writing like new content for their website is a total waste of time, because they're like, how is this going to equate to any sales? But the reality is that these are the businesses that are getting the sales, are the ones that are taking the time to write 300 to 1,000 words. That's it. Even if you only have time for 300 words, just put out 300 words. But these are the businesses that are doing it, that are getting people like you who are searching for information and finding it. That's who's coming up. And then behind your content marketing, you can add it up with some Google AdWords and Google paid ads and paid Facebook ads and things like that, but we're not really going to talk about that today. But when you have content marketing, you are targeting all those new people out there that are looking for information. They want to know, what is the difference between Louis Vuitton and Celine? What is the difference between a Celine handbag and a Chloe handbag? What is the difference? Like, Louis Vuitton has all these different handbags. What is a clutch handbag? What is a tote bag? So this is all information that you as a brand, as a business, can be putting out there to educate. What is the difference between thrift store and consignment? How does consignment work? So we have our general how frequently asked questions about our stores, but if you take the time to dig in deeper and even talk a little bit more about the difference between thrift store and consignment, or a little bit more about how consignment works, your information is going to pop up when people are searching this information on the internet.
So the goal of content marketing is not just to educate your customers, but it's also to improve your search engine optimization, so you show up to strangers?
Yes, exactly. So there are 3 types of audiences, and you're going to totally want to write this down because it's going to really make so much sense. Okay, your first audience is called your short-term audience. And these are people who have visited your website. Like today, Kate, you actually became a short-term audience on all of the different places you went to research about a microwave. And what happens is you Googled something about microwaves, you clicked on different links, and you went to different websites, different blog sites, different informational sites. What they did is that site stuck a little pixel, they stuck a little cookie on you. So you're like all full of cookies right now. And I know, are you full? Because you had a lot of cookies today. So they stuck this cookie on you, and what's going to happen now is for the next 90 days, you are going to find that whenever you go on Facebook, when you go on the internet, you're going to get ads shown to you for microwaves.
Is that 90 days actually 90 days, or are you just picking a number?
So you can actually, the maximum amount of time a pixel can stay with you is 90 days. So most good webmasters have the pixels set for 90 days, because why wouldn't you? Yes, so 90 days. So this is called your short-term audience. These are people who have visited your website because they're looking for some information. And then you have the next level of audience is called your non-owned audience. And these are people who are interested in what you have to say. And they come, they might find you, they read some information, they like what you have to say, and you go, you know what? I'm ready to take this relationship to the next level. Yes, I would like to follow you on Facebook. So this is now where they follow you on Facebook, or they follow you on YouTube, or they follow you on Instagram. And they want to hear more about what you have to say. They're not ready to buy, but you do not have their information at this point in time. And that's very, very important. So you have your short-term audience, which is just a pixel, and you remarket to these people. And then you have your non-owned audience. You do not own them. They can come and go as they please. And they're just like, I think I might like to get to know you a little bit better. And then you have your owned audiences. So your owned audiences, these are the people who are like, yeah, baby, I like what I see. I'd like to go to the next level with this relationship. So they are willing to give you their information in exchange for something back. Like, they are willing to download your app. These people are willing to say, here's my email address in exchange for an ebook, or in exchange for a private video or some private information. So what I'm saying is that you can have all these followers on social media. They are your not owned audience. You do not own them. You don't have a real relationship with them until you actually get their email address. Now you own them because you own their contact information, and now you're more in charge of that. You can market to them. You are more in charge of them as an audience. And is the least amount of money to market to your own audiences as opposed to everybody else.
So you're saying the owned audience is really only a valuable asset to your business if you use email?
Not necessarily. If you have like a mobile app, if you have anything where you can grab and market to people, like if you do a texting service and you have people, they opt in and you have their phone number. So the top way, of course, is email, because email marketing is the least expensive and the most impactful, because you can send people way more information than you can text them. So yes, email is number one, but if you get people's, well, in the old days, if you got their home address and you sent them like a postcard, but even if you do that now, any way that somebody gives you their information is considered they're your owned audience. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so here's some other really interesting information along the lines of audiences, and then we're going to talk a little bit about content. Millennials absolutely hate being sold to and avoid sales. And millennials seek all of their own information and make their own decision. So when you are marketing to millennials, this is where the content comes into place, because you want to be the one supplying the content, not your supply, not your competition. So for example, you know, if you own a resale store that's in the fashion industry, you might have heard of these couple little online stores called The Real Real or Poshmark or a few others of those. You can totally outproduce them in content marketing if you're the one putting out information about, let me tell you about the history of Louis Vuitton. Let me tell you about the history of Coco Chanel. Let me tell you about all the different types of Louis Vuitton handbags there are. Let me tell you about the difference between shopping a consignment store versus shopping the Real Real. So you're the expert, you become the industry expert, and millennials will totally hone into that information because they don't want to be sold to, they want to find their own information. Baby boomers, which is so interesting because we have actually heard from people like Melissa Morales and other individuals who do a lot of Facebook Live sales. Most of their sales are to the baby boomer market. Well, baby boomers seek out the sales process. Baby boomers seek out information, but they like to engage with a sales associate for help making their decisions. So with a baby boomer, you want to give them lots of information and come up on their Google searches when they're searching, but you also want to make yourself like super available, like through Facebook and Instagram and social media, like to be able to sell to them and have sales associates that want to sell to them. So that's why we see more and more baby boomers on Facebook, because it's more interactive from a sales standpoint, and more millennials gravitate towards Instagram because it's more information seeking and entertaining, and it's not as interactive of a platform.
Very interesting.
All right, any questions on that, or shall I move on?
I think I'm following you so far.
Okay, awesome. So we talk about content and we see these videos and they go viral and there's like millions and millions of people watching this video. Well, the goal is actually not to go viral with millions of viewers. I mean, the odds of like hitting a grand slam with a viral video are super, super slim, especially as a business owner. But the goal really when you're doing a video is to what they call it, play your short game. And so playing your short game, it's better to come up with lots and lots of shorter content, informational types of content, little articles, than it is to try to just go for that big grand slam viral video or viral content. And when we're talking content, we are talking like written out blog posts as well as videos, because what you want to do is, let's say you shoot a video, you want to transcribe all of the words that are spoken in that video so that you can use them on your blog post, on your website, as well as have it show up on YouTube and have it on the video platforms. So what the heck do you write about, right? You probably wondering that. What do you write about?
Oh, well, I'm not, but I'm sure everybody else is. I can write about anything, whether I write well or not.
You do this like beautifully because you've actually been doing this content marketing for years and years and years with all of your too good to be through.com, tgtb.com. So you've been pumping out content, which is perfect. And so most times when people are searching for related content to do with consignment, you're going to come up. And when you have a store though, what you want to do is first of all, make a list of like, what are your customers' biggest pain points? Why are they coming into your store to begin with? What questions do you get asked all the time? So you can even do like a monthly or quarterly, questionnaire with your staff. Like, hey, what are the top 5 questions you get asked all the time? And then start writing and start producing videos that have to deal with those questions. And then, yeah.
But what happens if you don't like to write, if you haven't got the time to write, if you're not comfortable writing, if you're unsure of your grammar or your spelling? You said that they should write 300 to 1,000 words. That's pretty daunting for a shopkeeper hasn't been an English major in her life.
So it doesn't have to be fancy. You're not writing to be fancy. You're just putting out the information. In fact, that's a really good point to bring up, because when we talk a little bit about titles, people try to come up with these really cutesy little titles, but you want to stay away from that. Use your cutesy titles for somewhere as the title of a paragraph in your content, and actually make your title more along the lines of like what people would be searching for. And I did write an example of that, but I can't find that at the second here in my notes. Here we go. So you want to say, like, let's say someone was just writing about food. Someone might say, "Will run for food" as a title versus "best foods for runners before a race." So it's obviously way better to use the title "Best Foods for Runners Before a Race." So you
now explain to your audience why it is obvious that the second title is better.
The second title is better because it's more along the lines of what people are searching for. So you want to just write like kind of normally how you talk. You're not writing the great American novel here. You're not going for the New York Times bestseller list. You're just giving information. So if you can talk to a customer, you can write content because that's all you're doing. And if you need, I always recommend, even the best editors anyway, I always recommend that you have an editor. Hire your mom, hire your grandma, hire somebody, pay them, a little bit of money to just read through, grammar check what you wrote, and you don't have to get super fancy. So literally just write as you speak. The plainer the better. No fancy schmancy work. You can even talk about comparisons with competitors. You can write reviews about different products, like if you're comparing, a Celine bag versus a Coach bag. You can, and another word on competitors, which is really interesting, is like you can talk about your competitors and mention your competitors. You can even do one of those charts that compares like, if you shop consignment stores, you get this and this and this. If you shop online, you get this and this and this. Because it's better that people are reading about your competitors on your page as opposed to your competitor's page. Any comments or questions?
One of the things that I find really helpful to use is the voice memo on my phone. If I am thinking about something, talking about something, I can literally record it on my phone, and then I can have it transcribed with the transcription service for 10 cents a minute. And I've got right there at least the outline of what I want to talk about. It makes it much, much easier to get those 300 or 1,000 words out, much more time efficient.
Thank you for mentioning that. I use this app right there. Can you see it? It's called Dictate to Us. Dictate to, are you seeing it backwards or no? Dictate to Us.
Got it. Dictate to us.
Yes, and this is, I researched a bunch of different apps. Kate, yours might even be better, what your service that you're used, but I did a bunch of research. Dictate to Us seems to be the best and the most cost efficient. And literally, you can just talk into it. And when you're done, you hit a button and it automatically goes off to be transcribed, and they email you and they charge you a very small amount of money. So that is my go-to dictation app. So that is perfect, Kate. Yes, I'm so glad that you mentioned that and brought that up. If you're not a writer, but you have lots of great information, or even if you have a staff member, you know, I'm thinking of Ellen Didion has this amazing staff member who's so smart about handbags and how to clean them, and how to treat different types of leather and fabric. And she used to work in the furniture industry. So even if you sat with her and turned on your dictation app and said, walk us through, you know, some steps to this, you just record her, send it off, and they send it back, and boom, you have content. You have a blog post, you have content. And if you videoed her while she was doing it, you would even have a video. So you could like clear 5 platforms in one go.
Speaking of having a video, on Facebook, you can have transcriptions made of your live selling videos for perhaps the next day or whatever. Would you recommend that people spend time doing that? It doesn't cost any money, but it does take time because you want to go through and erase all the ums and things of that sort. Would you think that that was a wise use of a shopkeeper's time?
I would not for the Facebook Live videos, because it's just a selling video. So from a Facebook Live video, no. But if you do a live video where you're giving content and you're giving good information, absolutely. And then put a little money behind that and boost that out. So I'm not going to go into that today, but one of the big things I learned is, you know, in beating Facebook's algorithms is pay to play. Even if it's $5, even if it's $1, if you put $1 behind a boosted post, Facebook will reward you, and you'll start to see your stuff show up in more people's feed. Even they want those ad dollars. And so back to your question though, is not on the live video sales, but yes, on everything else.
On informational videos.
On informational videos. Yeah, like your little 10 minutes with Kate that you do.
My
like,
little.
It's short. You're short. Like, yes. If you do any kinds of information like that, 1,000% yes. So a few other ideas for content are to, like for example, Lowe's Hardware has Lowe's Fix in 6 video series where they show you how to fix things in your home in under 6 minutes. Caterpillar Machinery does a fashion show. So, I mean, it was amazing. Like, I actually watched it, and it was really freaking cool how they did it. And they paraded these big Caterpillar machines up and down like this catwalk, you know, just like it was really, really cool. So again, like if Caterpillar Machinery can do a fashion show, like you can totally do a fashion show. And then that is something that, yes, I would do what you had suggested, you know, pay to have the content written out, do it on Facebook Live, do it on Facebook, or do it with another app or something. But these are all like, if you sat down and thought about all the different conversations you have with customers in a day, you could come up with so many different little things. Just about any conversation you probably have with a customer, you could record and do into a little content video. Even if it's like, what do I, you know, I'm going to an event and I found this cute little black top that I love. What can I wear with it? Or should I wear these shoes? Like, I mean, if you just start thinking about all the conversations you have in a day, they can all turn into content. So that is all really, it's 3:55. Do you have any other questions, Kate, or like questions that you think others might be asking? I don't see any questions coming up on our video.
So to sum up, content marketing is to not to direct sell, but to teach people something about something related to your business, or to use as institutional reputation builders, such as posting your favorite brownie recipe or something like that, courtesy of my shop in Rochester, New York, or something of that sort. And you're doing it not only to educate them, but also to answer questions from people who are Googling or using any other search engine for that kind of information. For instance, I'm sure one of the big Google questions that has to do with designer handbags is, what the heck is a baguette and how do you pronounce it? So you might want to do content marketing on that. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Absolutely. Exactly. Like, what is the difference between a baguette and a clutch? Or what is the difference between a clutch and a crossbody? Or, I mean, you could do, gosh, weeks just on the Louis Vuitton brand itself. Like,
Yeah, any of those differences, I would think, would be really, really good Google searches. For instance, what's the difference between a coffee table and a tea table?
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. Or what the crap is a buffet table for? Like, what do you do with a buffet table? What's the difference between a buffet table and a console table?
I don't know that one. I'd have to look that up myself.
All right, so we do have a couple questions here. Apparently, I didn't see them, but Keena Darlin says hi. So hello to Keena. Hello
Tina?
to Baker. Hello to Leslie. Hello, Kimberly.
Leslie just had a birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Leslie.
Happy birthday, Leslie.
All right, so Anita Johnson's watching. Hi, Anita. Judy Connor's watching. Hello. Okay, so Janie says, I've been wanting to do a video on how to prep your stuff before bringing it in. LOL. That's a perfect video, an absolutely perfect video to do. And another thing, especially if you are buy outright, is to teach your customers even how to clean up their handbags, because they might get a little bit more money if they have a really pristine handbag that they bring in, as opposed to not quite so pristine. But even in consignment, because it works the same, I guess, buy outright or consignment, if you bring something in that's really exceptional condition, like, you can probably sell it for more as a consignment store. So yes, teaching your customers how to take care of their things. And again, don't do it all in one go. Like, just, start with handbags, and then start with pick shoes or something, something like that. Okay, so Kimberly is asking, so what about the generation between the millennials and the baby boomers? Did they say anything about those? They did not talk about that, but we just really kind of focused on the baby boomers and the millennials in this particular context for that information that I got. So don't have information on the rest of us.
Kimberly, if you're looking to market to that age group and you're seeing all this reference to millennials and to baby boomers, what I would do is I would rely upon your gut instinct. If that is your target customer, again, listen to what you're talking with them about, listen to what they're asking you. You could even, again, go ahead and use your phone and take verbal notes yourself. Emily asked me about X, and Annette asked me about Y, and so on. So you've got those notes so that you can go back and talk about that. Now, whenever we do any sort of generalization, it's not going to hold true 100% of the time. So don't ignore your gut feeling in preference to what some internet guru is telling you about the millennials. He may be a millennial, he may not be a millennial. He may know what he's talking about. He may simply be parroting what he heard from somebody else. So I wouldn't worry too much about what they say. I would worry more about what your target market is, what's going on in your town. Another great way I think of it, we haven't talked about, Colleen, is when you're doing content marketing, make it local. You want people to shop local, talk local. You know, tell them about what's going on the concert at the park. Tell them about what they should wear to their next skating party, whatever's going on in your town. And that'll be great because when somebody's typing in, you know, Edmonds, Oklahoma skating evening, you know, maybe you'll come up because you've written a blog post that says what to wear to Edmonds skating evening.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, this is like, you're now like getting into like a whole nother part of content marketing that we'll talk about. No, it's great. But here's what I want to say about that is when you include other businesses or other like stores around town, the symphony, things like that, you can actually take your write-up and send it to them and say, hey, I wrote this, would you please include this on, you know, on your blog? And then you get a link and you get a backlink. And I'm not going to confuse anybody because you really shouldn't have duplicate content, but if you change it a little bit, but anyhow, you can share that out there and then get more mentions. You know, if you have a favorite things to do in fall, you know, like just where are the fall leaves right now? Like we're in North Carolina, tons and tons of people come to North Carolina during this time of year to go through the mountains and see the fall leaves. Like it's a really big deal. So if you wrote content about the fall leaves and what to wear on the fall, you know, your fall leaf trip or whatever, mention your store, mention different hotels that are, you know, people can stay at or whatever, coffee shops. You can send your article to all those different places and they might post it. And now you've got your name showing up. You've got links, more links coming into your website, which is really like really good.
So you're telling people that it's a really good idea to keep in mind that your own content marketing that you're doing for your customers and to improve your SEO also can serve as a press release.
It can, yes, absolutely. Because you can actually share that then with like so many other outlets. I mean, oh my gosh, because then like we learned about another seminar we learned about influencer marketing and who are really influencers. And then we talked about the press and we talked about how do you maintain a whole relationship with the press throughout the year. So when you do have something exciting or whatever, you can send it to them and you have a better chance of getting picked up. So that's like a whole nother show, but
I think we should close with the famous old saying about how do you eat an elephant?
You eat it one bite at a time, and this is just one bite. Content marketing. So if you've been thinking, I don't have time to blog, I don't have time to just write and keep building, you know, content on my website, really think again, because you know, when you're hearing about, gosh, your sales are down or your traffic's down, but you hear about other stores being up or other businesses are being up, this is how they do it. This is how these bigger stores, these bigger brands, these multi-million-dollar companies, like this is all they're doing. So you literally can go head to head with multi-million-dollar brands if you just do all of these tiny little things.
You eat the little toenail first, then you eat the little tassel on the end of the elephant's tail. If you do have doubts that you can come up with enough information to keep a blog going, to do informational videos, tune into my little video show tomorrow night, 10 minutes late, because our topic tomorrow night is X number of things that you can actually blog about that have nothing to do with trying to sell a product to a person.
Which is perfect. I didn't even know that was your topic tomorrow night when I came up with this. So that is.
We do often mesh, don't we?
Perfect. So yes, so make sure you tune in to the great big 10-minute show. Don't miss it. It's so huge. And you will learn more about what to write and blog and video about, because it really is not all about sales. You will get more sales when you do more of the non-selling things. I know that's really hard to wrap your head around when you need to make your sales quotas every day, but I'm telling you, this is where it's at. This is marketing today in today's world. So awesome. Kate, any other final thoughts before we let everyone go so they can tune into your show tomorrow night?
Well, no, because I am now going to step away from the computer and I'm going to step into the 19th century Chicago. So I've got my brain going in history versions. I do a living history impersonation or improvisation of Bertha Palmer, who was the Queen of Chicago, and she was also the legendary Lady of Sarasota. So I have an audience of 130 people tonight to entertain for over an hour, talking about Bertha Palmer and Sarasota County. So that's where my brain is.
All right, well, Miss Bertha, you go and have a fabulous evening, and we welcome you back to the new millennial tomorrow evening, but you go back into the 19th century, you said?
19th century, yep.
19th century. Go and have fun tonight. Thank you all for joining us. You can see Kate tomorrow night, Wednesday night, on her Facebook page. What?
Too Good to Be Through.
But it's actually TG.
It's actually two, the number two, good, the number two, the letter B, and through. Too Good to Be Through on Facebook at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
Perfect. So we'll all tune in to you tomorrow night. Have a great night. Everyone have an awesome week. If you have questions or comments, type them below and we will answer them, and we'll see you here next week.
Thanks
Bye.
for joining us.